Today we're going to talk about the world's smallest big city. It sounds almost perfect when this city is described as a brilliantly stylish fairy tale. Visitors will have a hard time finding a city that better balances cutting-edge innovation and charming tradition than this Swedish capital. This city is occasionally referred to as the world's smallest big city, despite being considerably smaller than other major European capitals. The city's position as a global player stems from its colossal cultural hub. Here, you can explore one of Europe's best-preserved medieval centers, gigantic palaces, and a variety of fascinating museums. It's Stockholm, the captivating and elegant capital of Sweden. And now let's look at the top 5 things that you can do in Stockholm, the world's smallest big city. Number 5, learn about the Nobel Prize Museum. The Nobel Prize Museum is a museum that aims to demonstrate to us how ideas alter the course of history and how one person's idea may improve the lives of millions. You may meet and get inspiration from Nobel Prize-winning authors, scientists, and freedom fighters in the lovely Borchhuset on the Stortorget Plaza in Old Town. Of course, you learn a lot about Alfred Nobel himself as well. The businessman and inventor Alfred Nobel donated a sizable sum of money after his passing to establish a prize that would honor those who have contributed to the greatest benefit to humankind. Numerous laureates have received awards since 1901 for their contributions to literature, the natural sciences, and world peace. The Nobel Prize Museum often hosts workshops, seminars, exhibitions, events, and lectures that feature discussions and debates on current events. You can also participate in a variety of entertaining activities, including after-work events, concerts, and samples of the Nobel banquet's food and beverages. The Nobel Prize Museum is mostly a museum about the major ideas and the brilliant minds who came up with them, rather than Alfred Nobel or the award itself. Instead of impressing, the goal is to inspire. You should have the impression that you can influence and better the world as a visitor, that we can all influence things and bring changes, that it is possible to do so. Number 4, experience the Swedish countryside at Djurgården. You don't have to go far from Stockholm to see the well-known Swedish countryside. You may get all of that and much more at Djurgården. The island of Djurgården, a true lung of the Swedish city, is a 279-hectare green haven that blends beauty and peace in the middle of Stockholm. Near the city center, the island of Djurgården is reachable by a variety of public transportation options, including boats as well as on foot, thanks to the several bridges that connect to it from Östermalm. The island is a vast green haven that is ideal for picnicking, motorcycling, and wandering. However, this enormous park is more complex than it first appears. There are many things to do in Djurgården, including some of the most popular sites in the city. There are 21 additional museums in this area, including one completely devoted to the Swedish musical group ABBA, as well as Rosendals Garden, Skansen, the Vasa Museum, and others. A family-friendly aquarium and amusement park are also available. There are still lots of places to relax, so don't worry. Take a stroll along one of the island's many canals or coastline paths, or take a break at Isbladskaret, a small lake area where a variety of birds and a small herd of Scottish Highland cattle can be found. Additionally, the island is dotted with a lot of restaurants, so you can relax and take a bite. Stockholmers like visiting the island of Djurgården as a place to unwind and have some recreation, making it an independently popular tourist destination. Number 3, marvel at the Royal Palace. Here's to one of the biggest and busiest palaces in all of Europe. The Royal Palace of Stockholm is His Majesty the King's official residence and is also the venue for most of the monarchy's important receptions. The Royal Palace of Stockholm is distinctive among the royal homes in Europe because it serves as a royal dwelling, office, and cultural and historical landmark that is open to visitors all year round. The palace, designed to resemble a Roman palace, was constructed in the Baroque style by architect Nicodemus Tessin. With a state apartment overlooking the city and smaller living rooms facing the inner courtyard, the palace includes more than 600 rooms spread across 11 stories. There are numerous interesting sights to view in the palace. The best part is the staterooms, which are far more stunning than the palace's facade and are also open for tours. Some magnificent historical artwork is displayed on the walls and is lovely. Expect magnificent decor in every room, regardless of where you enter. Number 2, explore the artistic metro stations. The 110-kilometer-long Stockholm subway system is thought to be the longest work of art in the entire globe. The experience of taking the subway is similar to journeying through an engaging narrative that spans from the artistic avant-garde of the 1950s to contemporary art experimentation. The public transportation in Stockholm is simply exceptional. 100 stations, each with distinctive artwork on the platforms, the walls, or the waiting area. Since 1957, artists have been essential in the construction of new stations, and over time, lovely statues, paintings, and installations have been added to the Metro's earlier stations, which were designed and constructed without any artwork. Many of the carvings made from rocks still have the atmosphere of a recently found cave and are wonderfully brought to life with rainbow colors, phrases, and futuristic patterns. The beginning of the blue line, considerably, which resembles some sort of post-apocalyptic archaeological find, is home to some of the most audacious designs. In essence, a day spent in Stockholm's subway is like spending time at the world's longest art exhibit. Number 1. The Vasa Museum. The Vasa, the most formidable warship in the Baltic, was afloat for only a few minutes before capsizing in the city's harbor in front of startled witnesses in 1628 while on its first voyage. The enormous 226-foot-long ship was entirely salvaged hundreds of years later. The ship was so large that it took over a year to lift it from the seabed's surface. Since then, the Vasa has undergone substantial restoration, with more than 95% of the original ship still intact. The ship is regarded as the oldest entirely intact warship in the world and the sole preserved example of a ship from the 17th century as a result of this painstaking repair. The Vasa Museum is currently the most popular in Scandinavia, attracting 1 million visitors every year. The museum, in addition to the magnificent ship, contains a lot of fascinating displays of the history of the ship, such as a peek into what life was like at sea during that time, tales of the passengers, and a collection of artistic artifacts discovered on the ship. But visiting the Vasa itself is the ultimate trip experience. The ship's enormous size and the level of preservation down to the finest detail completely astounded recent visitors. The Vasa Museum left visitors with a greater understanding of why this facility is regarded as one of the city's top attractions, even those who admitted it wasn't initially at the top of their must-see list. Visitors develop a deep romantic attachment to Stockholm. While the city offers one of the top museum scenes in Northern Europe, the lively restaurant satisfies appetites and stimulates the mind. Prepare to be in love. How many metro stations would you like to explore while you're here? Let us know in the comments below. And as always, where to next?